Marie.
Hello. I would like to begin by first welcoming Governor Murphy and Commissioner Repollet to the town of West Deptford. To fellow residents, Senate President Sweeney, it's nice to have you back in our schools. I would also like to welcome all of our guests today and extend our thanks to the West Deptford Board of Education and to our Superintendent, Mr. Steve Crispin. We're happy to have all of you here in South Jersey. My name is Madeline Cross, and I'm a proud West Deptford community member and also the school district's master teacher for our full-day grant-funded preschool program. Thanks to the efforts of Governor Murphy and his team, as well as our Senator, Senate President Sweeney, West Deptford School District was awarded the Preschool Education Expansion Aid Grant, which has allowed us to provide full-day preschool services to the community of West Deptford. I've worked with preschool students for almost 20 years, and I've been so proud to be an essential part of the transformation and development of our program over the past few months. I've witnessed firsthand the smiles of the students, the families, and the teachers as we've gone through this journey together. Back in December of this year, I was facing hallways full of boxes that had curriculum materials, school supplies, classroom furniture, and it's been a joy to see those boxes transform themselves into beautiful learning environments. In January, the students arrived, children smiling as they met their teachers for the first time, flourishing in their new classrooms, and blossoming into wonderful young community members. Fast forward to today, where each of you were able to join us in our experience and to experience our mission to create a love of learning and to see firsthand our students thriving due to the administration's advocacy for early childhood education. Because of the grant, our youngest learners, along with the community of West Deptford, they've been afforded access to certified preschool teachers, opportunities for family engagement, high-quality curriculum, state-of-the-art playground facilities, developmentally appropriate technology, furniture, and learning manipulatives. But most importantly, an opportunity to learn through play, as children do best. We cannot thank each of you enough. Our school district firmly believes in the research that proves high-quality early education relates to greater readiness and success in school and beyond. It relates to increased education attainment rates and also to overall healthier lifestyles. Governor Murphy, we are all in with your commitment to early childhood education, and we're thrilled that you chose to visit West Deptford. We truly appreciate that you have made early childhood education a priority in the state of New Jersey. But it is not us that are the benefactors. Rather, it's our youngest learners who may one day be standing in our places, leading the community, the state, or even the nation. It is with great pleasure that I give you the governor from the great state of New Jersey, Phil Murphy.
Thank you, Madeline. Thank you so much. What a treat. What a treat. What a great way to start the week. In fact, I have to get this. Senate President, the Commissioner, and I want to make sure that everyone is aware of some of the artwork that we contributed to a short while ago.
Best work we're going to do all week.
This is the high tech. The Senate President just said on the best work we'll do all week, right there. Just figure we'll get it out of the way on Monday morning. Thank you, Madeline, for your introduction and for all that you and your fellow educators are doing every day to prepare our youngest learners for a lifetime of learning. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Lex, Mrs. Hummel, and Mrs. Nuschel, who just hosted us incredibly graciously on our pre-K tour of the school. I want to thank the Senate President, Steve Sweeney, for welcoming us to his hometown. I've had a marker out to come to West Deptford for some time, and I'm thrilled and honored to start the week here. I also want to give Chief Academic Officer Dr. Shanika Carvalho a shout out for hosting us and guiding us on our tour, and your staff and all the educators here at Oakview Elementary for giving us a terrific tour of this terrific Center for Early Learning. And of course, they're not here, but I got to thank the kids in absentia, most importantly, who are really great to be with us. In addition to Madeline and the Senate President, I'm honored to be joined, as I have been so many times on topics of education, by our Education Commissioner, Dr. Lamont Repillette. Great to have you here, man. And to all of the educators and friends. Marie Bliston is here. Sam Crane, I see, is here from Pre-K Our Way. To the educators, to the elected officials, Superintendent Steve Crispin, Principal Ryan Doherty, and the whole team here. Thank you so much for hosting us so graciously. What we're seeing here in West Deptford, whether here at Oakview or at the district's other two elementary schools, is pre-K being taken to the next level because of the partnership between the school district and the state. This is pre-K that can work for every child and where every child has a place. The foundations for learning being created here for children with developmental or physical challenges are just as strong as they are for any other student. This is pre-K based on participatory and experiential learning, which we know leads a child to a lifetime of curiosity and to building a greater connection with the world around them. Our commitment to pre-K, a commitment I know the Senate President shares, has allowed 164, I believe, 3- and 4-year-olds to experience this tuition-free program this year. The budget that I've proposed will allow a total of 198 to be here in the upcoming school year. West Deptford was one of 64 school districts we invested in for the first time this year to help grow the promise of pre-K. And I'm proud that more than $1.2 million we were able to put toward these kids' futures in this school year, and I'm just as proud of the nearly $1.8 million we look to provide for the upcoming one. This is an area of this year's budget where I know the Senate President and I are in lockstep. Investing in pre-K is critical not just to West Deptford, but to our entire state. In the upcoming 2019-2020 school year, we'll make an overall state investment in pre-K of $781 million. In just our administration's first 2 years, we'll have increased aid for pre-K by roughly $150 million, and that is more than 20% increase again in just 2 years. This commitment, as Madeline alluded to, will have long-term, and Steve and I were discussing in the halls, this has long-term positive impacts. The National Forum on Early Childhood Policy and Programs has estimated that for every dollar we invest at the very beginning of their educational life, we can recoup up to $9 in overall return as they grow. You don't need to be a financial wizard to know that's a great return on investment. Additionally, every dollar we invest in pre-K goes toward making New Jersey a more affordable place for our diverse middle class and working families, like those right here in West Deptford, to raise their families. We were talking about how this is going to become increasingly a magnet for young families to come to our state, to come to communities like this. And our hope is over a period of years that they're not having to choose between West Deptford and some other community, but that this will be all over the state. And New Jersey will be the pre-K state. Investing in pre-K is how we keep New Jersey a national leader in education. And it starts here in places like West Deptford by building stronger foundations for lifelong learning. It is now my pleasure to introduce my partner in ensuring a bright start for New Jersey's youngest learners and West Deptford's own Senate President, Steve Sweeney.
I want to start off by thanking two people. One, Senator Teresa Ruiz and Sam Crane, for really getting this on everyone's radar and the importance of investment in pre-K. And for the governor, who from the beginning we didn't have to do anything to convince you that this was the right investment, and his prioritization of pre-K is critical for this state. You know, this will separate New Jersey from other states. The investment in our children at the earliest ages makes all the difference in the world. Children are better adjusted. They're better problem solvers. They become better citizens because of that early education. Look, I have a daughter, Lauren, who has Down syndrome. When she was born, she went into early intervention, if anybody who knows what early intervention is. And at birth, she learned. What we know is 85% of your brain develops between birth and 5 years old. And the goal is, let's get this fully funded throughout the state. and then let's start lowering the age. Because the sooner we get these young people, the better we're going to make them, and we're going to make New Jersey a standout state. New Jersey is known for its, look, we're known for a lot of things. Some good, some bad. But one thing we do know we're known for is we have outstanding schools, we have great teachers, and we appreciate what they do. Our communities are stronger when our schools are better. And our schools are very good. And this investment, Governor, I can't thank you enough, because what it's doing is making, and you're right, we don't want to pit communities against each other. We want to be able to decide where we want to live, understanding that quality pre-K exists in every community throughout the state. And just a plug for your commissioner, what an outstanding choice he's been. And he's been wonderful to work with. I won't grill you on your budget day.
Remember that.
I won't. I said I won't.
I know
But
someone who will.
someone else will, but I won't. But again, what an outstanding choice. I mean, his experience throughout the education world, the spectrum, has really made him an outstanding commissioner, because he's basically been there, done it, in all facets. So, Governor, thank you for being here in my hometown and for this focus on pre-K. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, as I said to Steve earlier, I got an appreciation for his commute every day this morning as well, by the way. So,
Reverse way.
exactly, going the opposite way. The Senate President already gave him a richly deserved shout out, but he's done and continues to do an extraordinary job. Would love to ask our Commissioner of Education, Dr. Lamont Repollet, to come on up and say a few words.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today at Oakview Elementary School, home of the Eagles, with Governor Murphy, Senate President Sweeney,
He said.
Superintendent Crispin, Principal Doherty, and Dr. Cavallo, and other dignitaries to the highest pre-K funding. Fiscal year 2019 was the first year the West Deptford School District received state preschool aid in the amount of $1.2 million. We're happy to say that the district's preschool aid would increase by 45% in the proposed fiscal budget, 2020. It is important to note that West Deptford is moving to a full-day program for 140 4-year-olds. Now, I'm going to pause for a second to say that we have 140 students that have received quality pre-K instruction the entire day. So that's what the pre-K expansion is all about. So thank you for the partnership between the governor and the legislature to make sure that this occurs for our earliest of students. As Governor Murphy has always said, expanding early childhood education is amongst the smartest investments we can make for the future of our state. New Jersey is proud to be amongst the top in the nation in preschool pre-K funding. We know a child's earliest years are a critical time during which rapid brain development occurs. We know these milestones inform their cognitive skills, health, and behavior throughout life. The benefits of preschool are many. It sparks a child's curiosity, boosts their physical activity, builds trust in other children and in adults. It improves reading and math skills, and fosters improved self-esteem, and more importantly, social and emotional learning. The individual and the community benefits from preschool continue later on in life. Decades worth of research has consistently shown the children who attend preschool programs are less likely to repeat a grade. The fact in districts like West Deptford are not only preparing children for our future success, they're also helping bridge the gap between the children from low-income families who oftentimes are at a disadvantage amongst their peers. In the end, that's what it's all about, giving our children at the earliest age the best opportunity to succeed in life. So thank you very much to the governor. Thanks for Senate President, legislators. And I want to just particularly shout out my amazing team. I know today they said some things about me, but I think it's important I use this pulpit to really shout out the amazing team I have in the department to really kind of pre-K expand. So thank you very much, Team DOE.
Good job, Dave. Amen to your team and our team. Carrie Booker's in the house. Carrie, you had a big weekend with your brother, so and thank you for all that you do. Before we take a couple of quick questions, I want to underscore points that both, in fact, all three speakers made, and I think Steve said it most eloquently. Dominating education is is our goal. And we have no less a goal than that. And that means in K through 12, and money isn't everything. Great educators, it begins with great educators, administrators, staff, obviously our blessed and precious kids. But money has to be an ingredient. And we were very honored to work together last year to begin the journey on not just finally getting toward putting historic investment into K through 12, but to updating the formula, which we spent a lot of time on. And we're in this year 2, I think, of a 7-year transition to where that formula needs to get to. So K through 12, it's about getting as best we can the money to align as best we can with our kids and to back and support the educators and administrators. On pre-K and at the other end, higher ed, it's to expand accessibility so that more very young kids in this case, or folks who are in grades 13, 14 at the other end or beyond, have access. So it's not so much what the law requires you to do, it's about, as Lamont mentioned, it's to getting it particularly to underserved communities and folks who just can't afford it otherwise. So this is not just putting more money into the system when it comes to pre-K. This is allowing kids to access it who literally otherwise, if mom and dad couldn't afford it, they literally wouldn't have it. And that's a big deal, and that's, I think, a badge of honor that we all wear together. And as good an idea as I might have, or Steve, or Lamont, or Madeline, or anybody else in this room, it does take a village, and our work with the legislature on this has been exemplary. And so I want to, again, thank you for that leadership, and to each and every one of you. Take a couple of questions if we got them from the press.
Just to clarify,
Mr. Aaron.
the new budget, I think, has $62 million new.
68.4, I think. 25 of it is going to go toward getting into communities unlike West Deptford that are not already. So a big chunk of it is to further fund the communities we began in January, and another chunk is to get to communities that we have not gotten to yet. Justin.
Going off topic, but in the realm of education, given everything that we've learned about the Blanco, her inflation of her own credentials, the history of financial problems, hiring people without qualifications, hiring people that are connected to her, how do you maintain confidence early in the SBA?
So I've said this, Dustin, I think generally and specifically to you before. Even before this hit the press, this was something that we were investigating, and we are continuing to do that. And when we have something we take it very seriously, and when we have something to report, I promise you, we will let you know.
The Senate President has discussed possibly doing away with the School Development Authority and merging it into the Economic Development Authority. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I haven't. I think that's on a short list of things that we may not see the same way. But I think what we need to do is complete this process that we've started, and then we'll take that step first. Please.
Say where you stand on that?
Well, I already did. I felt we should eliminate the SDA, merge it into the EDA. It's one of the few areas where the governor says we disagree. You know, you guys don't focus on the things we actually do agree on, because we do agree on a lot, and I think we've demonstrated that.
We just had half an hour on what you agree on. Now it's time for what you disagree.
30 seconds.
Well, listen, I think the EDA could do it easily, and if we're going to refinance this authority, we have to start new in my mind. That's all.
You'd be shocked at how cordial our meetings are when you're not in the room.
Yes.
We had one on Thursday. It was an extremely harmonious, constructive meeting. Please.
Yeah, also off topic, the medical aid and dying bill, would you just address why you decided to sign that and what you say to the opponents of that?
It was really hard. And it was we did it on Friday. It was extremely emotional. In private, I gave John Bersicelli a lot of credit for leading this, and I will say that again in public. He's had to live through this with his family. I suspect almost everybody in this room has had to live through that, right? And it was extremely emotional, extremely difficult decision. But I became convinced over the past several months that it shouldn't be the law that decides this. It should be a personal choice. And secondly, there are a lot of safeguards associated with this. If you dig into the bill, this is for folks. This is not a question of whether they're going to die. in the near term. They are going to die, sadly. And the question is, can we find a more humane, painless, or at least less painful way for them to go through that last stage together? So it was very difficult. I put out I don't normally do this, but I put out a long signing statement because I wrestle with it. I'm a practicing Catholic, and that was not an easy one to get to. Matt.
Governor, I've asked you in the past about whether you thought, you think your push for medical marijuana is somewhat stalling the effort for recreational marijuana in the legislature. Two things. I'm curious if the May deadline comes and goes, are you still going to push the medical marijuana? And also, Senator Sweeney, is that, post-deadline, that you'll push for medical marijuana? Is that slowing down efforts to get recreational?
I'll do the first half. You want to do the second? We had a good constructive meeting on the broad. I mentioned on Thursday, and a big chunk of that was the broad topic of marijuana. That's not an artificial. I'm not saying that for some pulling that out of the air. I'm proud of the fact that after 8 years of the medical marijuana regime being gummed up, we have opened it up dramatically, beginning almost immediately when we got into office. But we need to continue to open it up. The best way to do that is through legislature. There are some things I cannot do through executive action, and that would be the best way. I think we agree on that completely. I'm only making the observation, Matt, that the health commissioner and I are we've got our hands in the dike, our fingers in the dike right now for thousands of more who need access for quality of life, or in some cases probably even life or death reasons. I'm just merely stating a fact. We had a good meeting on the general topic on Thursday. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Well, listen, the goal is still the same. Our goal is to get adult use done, and I think we're all working, the speaker, myself, and the governor are all working in good faith to try to make that what we want to get done. We want to do all three. We want to do expungement, we want medical expansion, and we want adult use. And these are not easy votes by any means. They're very hard votes. And I just want to say one thing on aid in dying real quick. That was one of the most meaningful bills we probably will ever have done in the legislature since I've been there. And I want to thank the governor for signing it. John Bersacelli fought like hell for that for years. And at the end of and as personal as it gets, and it doesn't get much more personal when you're deciding to end life, it's your life, and you have a right to do that, especially when you've been told you have no chance to live.
Yeah, amen. And by the way, Senate President was one of the sponsors of that, so thank you for your leadership on that as well. Michael, one more.
Yeah, two topics where you still seem to disagree. I just want to get your latest thinking.
Michael, Jesus. Don't you ever go to like a Disney G-rated movie and everyone walks out really happy?
He's pugnacious.
That's a good word.
Out of conflict comes illumination.
Sounds way above my pay grade, but I'll let you know how it sounds after you ask the question. What's your second question?
What are you saying? You two want a collision course around?
I'm very happy to stop it at 1, by the way. I think to be determined. Well, I've got a budget. We're going around doing budget briefings around the state. We've got one in Camden County this afternoon. We started in Essex County last week. Good discussions. I've said this before. Again, we probably don't see things exactly in those realms the same way. But importantly, I've said this many times, and I'm now living it for a second time. New Jersey does the budget thing well. For all of the emotion we attach to June 29 and June 30 every year, the process of a governor presenting, and then a series of meetings, both in private, public hearings, the beginning to sort of find that common ground. I'd say it's far too early. I feel strongly about it, but it's too early in the process. But I think we've gotten off. Do you agree? We've gotten off to a good start generally.
That's a great start.
Yeah. So, with that, I want to thank our hosts. Madeline, thank you for speaking so graciously to the West Deptford school team, to this particular Oakview team, to the educators, Marie, and to all your colleagues, to the advocates, Sam, to the administrators, and most importantly, those blessed kids whose lives collectively we're all changing. Thank you so much. Good stuff. We even avoided several months.